When we last saw this PowerBook G3 Pismo, I was just learning to love this machine after a long time of honestly not really liking the Pismo, although the SSD and max RAM certainly helped. But today, I plan to like it even more because we're giving it a G4 processor upgrade. So let's see what kind of cool options open up with this brain transplant, take some benchmarks to see just how much of a difference it makes, and even try to play some games that should never, ever be able to run on here. So stay tuned. Today's Macintosh shenanigans are brought to you by PCBWAY. So many retro computing projects that we've come to depend on started with prototyping via PCBWAY.com, in no small part due to their great pricing and turnarounds as fast as 24 hours. Just take a look through their shared project sections where you can find absolute gems like this amazing entire Apple I clone. So if you have any PCB needs, I hope you'll give PCBWAY.com a try. So what we have here is a 500 MHz G4 upgrade card for the Pismo, and it's actually a simple swap-in replacement for the original processor card because, believe it or not, there was actually a time when Apple actually expected you'd want to upgrade your machine instead of just chucking it in the garbage every 2 years and buying a new one. And there were a lot of third-party processor upgrades released for the Pismo from companies like Sonnet and Daystar, Fastmac, and a bunch of others. And most of them were G4 upgrades at 500 or 550 MHz, although PowerLogic released G3 upgrades as fast as 1 GHz with their blue chip line, and I'd freaking love to find one of those things. Now, it's hard to say who made this processor card because if you'll notice, it's actually an Apple original part. So what probably happened is this is something like a Daystar, where they would have you actually ship your entire Pismo to their factory, and they would swap just the processor on your processor card for the G4. And they were able to do that because these G4s are actually pin compatible with the G3s from these machines. And some enterprising Pismo owners would actually do that themselves, and I'll link a video below from DOSDude1 where he does exactly that. And he takes the G3 processor off of his daughter card and puts the G4 there himself using BGA soldering. And that's an amazing video to watch. And the Pismo here really was the last and most modern super expandable Mac laptop, which is a big reason why so many people really love this machine. In fact, the processor and both RAM slots are under the easily removable keyboard, which has these friendly little tabs that let you lift it and access all of the machine's internals. But before we do this upgrade, let's take some benchmarks of the stock machine to see just where we're starting from. All right, so we've got our trusty FireWire SSD plugged in, and all of our partitions with lots of cool stuff, including a stuff partition, where we have our Xbench benchmarking tool. All right, so let's run Xbench and see what our Pismo looks like from stock. All right, so we've got our Xbench scores here, and I am by no means an expert in what a lot of this stuff means, but what's more important is checking out what the difference is once we install the new processor. So I've only got the 512 megs of RAM in there right now. We're going to be upping that to the full 1 gig. And we have our Rage M3 video card, our 64 gig SSD. And then what we're changing, of course, is the PowerPC 750 at 400, which is going to become a 7410G4 at 500. So, of course, we should see nice gains in the CPU test here, in the thread test, but I'm also wondering if we're going to see improvements in any of the video stuff and in the user interface test here. So yeah, let's do this brain transplant. Now, this card was listed as working, but the one thing that worries me is the listing specifically said only one of the RAM slots was tested and the other one is unknown. And as you probably know, if you spend any time on eBay, especially in vintage computer stuff, untested generally means definitely tested and does not work. But I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I am definitely going to populate both of these RAM slots for the full 1 gigabyte, and we'll just see if that works. And the other thing I want to do is just clean off some of this residual gunk from the old compound, and we're definitely going to put some new compound on here. Yeah, so we've just got some Arctic Clean thermal compound remover and purifier that came with my little tube of Arctic Silver 5 here. Okay, and there's no little fuzzes left over from this cotton swab, so I think we're fine, and that looks perfectly clean. And it's super easy to get to the processor card. I've taken out the CD-ROM drive and the battery, and to take the keyboard off, it's just 2 little tabs here, and you lift the thing straight back. And the processor card is underneath this little heatsink here, and it's just 2 screws to pop that off. And then underneath that plate, we have the actual heatsink here. And then annoyingly, our friendly tab to pull up the processor card is broken off. You can see here's the one for the hard drive. There used to be one here for the processor card. So we're going to have to kind of fish this thing out. And we can clearly see on the card that it's the PowerPC 750L, but it's that same exact processor card that the G4 is on. Actually, if we compare the 2 cards side by side, there are some differences. They both say they're 400 megahertz cards, but the part numbers appear to be slightly different. And on the top of the cards here, they look identical, except of course this one has the G4 processor, but on the other side, there are other differences, including this chip here, which here is that kind of bubble chip and it says VLSI. And here the chip is pretty much worn away, what was written on it. And yeah, I'm sure they're the same chip, but the size of the chips are different. So maybe this is a later revision or something. I don't know. And then I'll just clean the thermal compound off of this heatsink as well. All right, so I've fully populated the RAM on both sides of this card. So let's stick it in here and cross our fingers. Okay, and I'm once again going to do the most dangerous thing a person can do on YouTube. I am going to install thermal compound on camera. So feel free to yell at me in the comments if you think I used way too much or way too little. Actually, I think that's just right. Okay, I've got our Pismo back together and plugged in. And yeah, let's push the button and hope for no smoke. That's a good sign. Okay, now unfortunately, after it bongs, it just stays at a black screen. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm hopeful because it shouldn't actually bong if it doesn't see the memory. So it's got to be seeing the memory on the card. Like if we took the memory out of there and tried to start it up, it would make a completely different tone. So let's try a couple things. Okay, so the caps lock button actually works and lights up green, so it's not like it's dead or frozen. So I think I'm going to try to reset the PRAM. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect the internal battery here, plug it back in, and see if I can clear the PRAM fully that way. Hey, it worked. Hey, so shockingly, that worked first try. So let me put this back together. I'll shut it down, and then we can run our benchmarks. Let's just do a quick test here and make sure everything's working, actually, since we're started. About this Mac, and we have, 500 megahertz PowerPC G4 with 1 gig of SD RAM. We got it. All right, so here we are in our 500 megahertz G4 Pismo with 1 gig of RAM. That's amazing. I cannot believe it was so straightforward and so simple to upgrade this machine, and it didn't give us hardly any problems. So now it's time to rerun our benchmarks and compare against the original G3. Okay, test complete, so let's just save this as Pismo G4 upgraded. And now let's compare these results side by side. Okay, starting from the top here, we can see in the CPU test, obviously, there is a humongous difference. So the Pismo G4 scored 27.30, while the Pismo G3 stock processor scored 9.84. And we have sizable increases in all of the metrics on the G4, and also now AltiVec, of course, is enabled, which wasn't present on the G3 processor. Scrolling down our thread test, which is also part of the processor, we are now at 22.46 on the G4 versus 18.08 on the G3. The memory test has increased on the G4, but now surprisingly, it seems that we've lost some graphics performance. The Quartz graphics test on the G4 scored 13.73, while the same test scored 17.97 on the G3 processor. However, OpenGL graphics test is much improved. Disk test also seemed to take a little bit of a hit, scoring 45.33 on the G4 compared to 71.37 on the G3. So interesting results. The processor speed is definitely vastly improved, but I do wonder why disk read and some of the graphics tests got a little bit slower on the G4. Okay, now I promised games that would not run on the G3 at the start of this video, and let's do that now, and this I'm really excited about. So if you saw the last video with the cube, we put Minecraft on that cube. So there was a version of Minecraft released by the fine folks over on the Mac Rumors forums, which is version 1.2.5, finely tuned for G4 processors. Now, there's no way this would run on the stock G3, but on this 500 megahertz G4, I'm pretty sure it's at least going to launch, and maybe we'll even be able to see what kind of horrible frame rates that we'll get. But I never in a million years thought I would see Minecraft running on this old Pismo PowerBook. All right, so we'll just run the installer script here. All right, installation complete. Let's see if we can launch Minecraft. All right, enter a username. Let's call ourselves Pismo with a Z because that's cool. All right, I think it doesn't like the version of Java that we've got here, so maybe let's try to fix that. All right, so I updated the version of Java on here just through the system update, which is the most recent version of Java 5. And look, it launched. There's the Mojang title screen. Okay, so it's been sitting on the title screen for like 10 minutes now, so I'm going to assume that is not working. Then I don't know, maybe if I let it sit there for longer, it would eventually start, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so Minecraft is obviously not going to work on this computer. That should never ever have been able to run it anyway, but there is one more thing I want to try out. I want to see, can this computer boot from the Impossible Cat, which is the beta version of 10.6 Snow Leopard that was unofficially released for PowerPC. So let's give this a shot and see if it boots. And I will be shocked if it does. All right, we've got the Apple logo, and there is activity on the FireWire SSD over here, which is where that install of 10.6 beta is. Holy crap, you guys, we have booted into Snow Leopard on our PowerBook Pismo. That is absolutely crazy. Look at this. We are fully booted into it. We have everything. I think it's pretty slow, probably. Oh, yikes. Yeah, pretty slow. But who cares? We're booted into it. You have the Snow Leopard taskbar, nice and about a frame per second. Look at that. 10.6 Snow Leopard on our 500 megahertz PowerPC G4 on our PowerBook Pismo from 1999. Yeah, look at that. PowerBook 3,1 on Snow Leopard. Did you ever think you would see this? Wow, there is a little bit of artifacting here. But look, we have access to Time Machine on a PowerBook Pismo. Ugh. Yeah, there's a lot of artifacting on the screen here. There's like little bits left over from the spinning beach ball and from like a menu. There we go. Drawing over it gets rid of it. Uh-oh, is it indexing? All right, let's turn off indexing and maybe that'll give us a little bit of a more livable experience. Okay, so the fans are really spinning up on this thing. Let's turn off spotlight indexing with the terminal. And, well, I don't know if that really made too much of a difference, but yeah, let's see what else works and doesn't work. Oh, yeah, this seems to be a little bit faster now that indexing has stopped, although the fan is still ramped up. But let's see if our networking actually works. Nope. We are connected via Ethernet, but it does not seem to see it. So I guess there's no networking in our Snow Leopard 10.6 on our Pismo. How about sound? Yep, sound works. All right, well, I'm going to say I don't recommend trying to run Snow Leopard on your Pismo, even if it's a G4, but it does work, shockingly. So, yeah. So on this incredible bombshell, I'm going to end this video here. I cannot believe we got 10.6 Snow Leopard, the PPC beta, to boot and run on our 1999 PowerBook Pismo. That is absolutely incredible. And if you have any ideas of cool stuff we can do on our now G4 that we couldn't do on the G3, let me know in the comments below. But if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more Macintosh shenanigans like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And a special thanks to Chris, Justin, Sorta Eclectic, and Spike, who are my highest tiered patrons, and all of my Patreon supporters for helping make these shenanigans possible.